As for why I cover the cults, that is simply because of the nature of cults. For me, the standard of success, for example, let's clarify what that means. One thing you learn, especially when you study more things, is that levels of success is very different for different people. For example, myself, I do not expect to get popular in any regard. Sorry about that disruption. As I was saying, my motivation around this is not to necessarily get mass support. I know I won't ever get that due to the nature of what I cover and my personality, in which is not suitable for it. So, what then is my motivation behind talking about cults? These two comments here is actually very good to highlight the point. If people actually find it very useful, or people appreciate what I do and can use what I do for that in appreciation, that's enough. For example, let's use the Weaver 55, because they have been consistent on 2 videos supporting the cult propaganda, and thank you for that support. They correctly they correctly say why I do it. My best friend, I thought she was coming to Christ. She told me she was joining this church. I'm heartbroken. She won't listen to reason, let alone sound doctrine and scripture. And just clarify, just because I am atheist, I would still prefer you to be in a proper religion over cults. I would probably still disagree with you on religion to some extent, even in official religions, but I won't go into the line between the murky line between cults and religions here right now. But the point is that one point mentioned here is correct. They got her. These people are staking out Christian pages on Facebook, etc. And that's correct. They also use Christian scripture on their own websites and sources themselves to try and justify their actions. So that is a thing in which is the case. And that's where this dynamic is in play. In terms of this as well, it's a dynamic in which people are not aware of cults necessarily, and that's why some education is needed to be done on cults, because much education in the Western systems is totally inadequate dealing with cults. Cults bastardize actual other things to suit their own agenda. One thing that makes cults more dangerous than religions is simply due to the nature of that cults often work outside of power structures which is established. Religions themselves, while they have the potential to do harm, they are not necessarily going to be as harmful as cults because they are still bound to certain restrictions. Cults themselves do not have those restrictions because they often work off a completely heretical doctrine in some cases, and a heterodox worldview, and that is often how they function. They differentiate themselves from society rather than religions who try and integrate themselves into some degree of society itself, and that is a core difference. As for why I'm doing this as well as a continuation, if I did set this up early on, but this did kind of neglect it because I don't know, I was distracted by other things. But the point is, if you do want to actually have direct communication with me, it's general chat and video discussion stuff on this server I separated dedicated to this specifically. It's been kind of mostly a failure, but if you want to contact me, you can. And there's this. And if you're curious what it is, it's just this: 2 simple questions. Which video? Why do you want to join the server? Which is more simplistic than what I did beforehand, but there you go. So the Weaver 55 said in the newest one, praying I can convince my friend to get her out of this madness. That's honestly hoping for anyone in the cults, really. Hoping to get out of cults, regardless of if they leave it being atheist or theist equally as much. Just get out of cults themselves, and that's my main intention. People need to realise that cults themselves should be avoided, and if then people can realise how to actively avoid cults themselves, it makes the task so much easier in slowing the spread of cult influence, especially in Australia where we get American and Asian cults equally as much coming to us. And with that, goodbye.